Great. Thank you very much, Bryn, for sharing your experience you know, really provoking us to think about quality in the sense of what it means for patients, the patient experience, and just realizing and understanding, reconnecting with the fact that that's really what it's all about. Any quick comments, questions for Bryn in the audience? Oh, there's one over there, yes.
Thank you, Bryn. I'm passionate about stroke therapy, rehabilitation and long-term care, so I was delighted to hear you talk. In view of GP commissioning, I was wondering how well you feel your GP has understood your stroke.
I was waiting for that question. He's been fabulous. And the only trouble I had was that I didn't understand what he was telling me. He talked about fatigue, and I just got in my head that fatigue was something when you were overtired. I didn't understand neurological fatigue. I can put up with a hemiparesis, but the neurological fatigue is something that I only now understand. And I understand how difficult it is to articulate to anybody who's never experienced it. But my GP did try and tell me. He honestly did. And I didn't listen, but maybe I couldn't. I think it's really hard for anybody that's had an acquired brain injury, because that's what I regard myself as having. The stroke was caused by an accident, and therefore I acquired this condition. But it's really hard to articulate the invisible bits of the consequences of stroke or any other head injury to somebody who's not experienced it. I don't want to immerse myself in stroke, which is why I'm here. And in this world where you Google yourself and think, good grief, did I do that? I occasionally do it just to see what I've done. And there's a long list now of the different organisations that I'm working with. And I think my experience, particularly the psychological fallout from stroke, is no different to cardiac patients or anybody else that's had a major trauma. The outcome for them is the same, and the support they need is the same. And that's where GPs and GP commissioning have a huge role and responsibility to take on board. I think that's a very long answer to a very short question.
Okay, due to reasons of time, I think we probably need to move on. So really just to thank Bryn once again, sincerely thank you, Bryn. Okay, so time for you to roll up your sleeves now. You didn't expect to be passive today, did you? It is a leadership event after all. So we're going to move on to a section where you get an experience to reflect on your learning. So just a bit of checking first of all. Does every table have a facilitator? Can you just pop up your hand if you're a facilitator? Okay, right. Now, some tables don't, in which case, can somebody nominate themselves, you know, leadership, to be the facilitator? It's just a way of, you know, structuring the conversation. So can we just have a facilitator on each table? Okay? All right, if you can do that as a task. If I can just move that on. This next section is an opportunity for you, so each of us individually, to reflect on your learning. So the point here is that you've gone through or are going through an experience which should provoke some thought around what does this mean for me, what does this mean for me in terms of leadership. So we'd like each of you individually to spend a couple of minutes reflecting individually and perhaps just writing down, you know, what is it that I've learned? What have I learned that's new, that's surprising? What have I learned that's been the most practically useful in terms of improving services? What are things I yet have to learn? And once you've done that for a couple of minutes, if you'd like to set up a group discussion, after about 25 minutes, we're going to just get a sense of what's going on in the room. So Michael Hopkert's going to join me and just ask you to do that. So 25 minutes?